Hello, this podcast finds us pondering the dynamics of love and relationships. How to find it, how to keep it, how to avoid any potential pitfalls, and how not to repeat any previous patterns. Sue and Jeff are just the people to guide us through the mysteries of relationships and bring us out the other side better informed and ready to embark on a new exciting chapter. Welcome, Sue and Jeff.
Hi.
Hi there. Sounds like a lot to cover in a podcast, but let's get going.
Let's make a start then. Why are all the good ones taken?
Aha.
No, they're not. When you're subconsciously unwilling to go into a relationship, then you'll say something like that, like there's no one out there, and you need to become willing to have a relationship. When you do that, you kind of open yourself up, and as soon as you do that, then other people will be attracted to you and things will move forward.
Yeah, it's amazing how we think that what's out there is happening by itself, and how little we credit our own minds for the reverse situation, which is our mind, or the possibility of our mind creating what's happening out there. Those two things are totally linked, and it's not random, it's linked. And I think one of the things we find with clients again and again is, and it was true for me, that switch, that flip in my mind was huge, but it's something we may not be aware of.
Good to know. Number 2, why do I always get it's not you, it's me?
How do you mean? Why do I... Oh, I see. In an argument, it's like... Is that what you mean?
Yes. Or when you split up with somebody, it's not you, it's me.
Oh, I see. Okay, you split up with someone and you go, there's nothing wrong with you, it's just me, I can't. So it's somebody trying to be kind, I guess. It's the kind of thing you'd say if you were
Bumped
in
into
denial.
Or someone bumped into you and then you say sorry. I mean, it's ridiculous, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
But the thing about a relationship, when a relationship breaks up, it always looks like, one person has left and one person's the good person and the other person's the bad person, all these things. But actually, in our experience, what's going on is there's collusion going on. There's some sort of moment where deep in your mind you make a choice about who's going to be the bad guy and who's going to go and be the victim, and all the friends are going to sympathize with them, but both people on one level have colluded to end the relationship, of course, and then we make it look like one or the other, and then we feel bad about it, but the truth is it's basically what you both wanted.
I get that. Well, this is a tricky one. I love my partner. Mm-hmm. I am not sure I am in love with my partner. How do I know?
Oh, yeah. It sort of that speaks of the idea that we have that, being in love is totally captivating and juicy and exciting and, all that. We kind of aspire to be feeling that all the time, when in fact it's A, unrealistic, and B, it's not really love when we're feeling that. We're feeling something else. We're feeling that this is the person that's going to make us feel this good, and it's up to them to keep like that, or else we might just kind of slip out of feeling that good and rely on, I think I love them.
Yeah,
not sure.
That's most people confuse love with needs, and when your needs get met, you feel really, really good. So then you think, oh, this is love, but that's not love. That's your needs getting met. So typically, what happens at some point, then we start fighting. We have all these kind of issues, and we think, oh, they don't love us, and I love. And basically none of that's got anything to do with love, and it's like a lot of people go, oh, love hurts, and you can listen to any cowboy song and it's always about love hurting and it's such a terrible thing. The truth is, love doesn't hurt. It's not possible for love to hurt. Love is love, and when you have it, you know you have it. You don't think you might have it, you know you have it.
Yeah, I guess the other possibility is when you're in a really long-term relationship, you might be in what we affectionately call the dead zone, where, you know, again, that juice, that excitement has gone. It feels like a bit boring and a bit samey, and, you know, where's that in-love feeling gone? And we, of course, we love them as a co-parent or as a partner, a long-term partner, but the excitement has gone, which is really a sign that we need to take an emotional risk and, you know, open our heart to our partner, take a risk and rejuvenate the connection between us.
Yeah, that's the thing about love, is it's, you know, love is so many different things, you know, so many different aspects, but love is sharing, it's inclusion, it's tenderness, it's all those things. But essentially, in a relationship between two people, it's your willingness to grow closer and closer together till your lives so intertwine that basically you become one. And that's what love is. That's when you're in a state of love. But before that, there are many, many lessons to learn.
All right. Well, I have to say I can completely relate to that last one from many moons ago. I want the relationship to work. I'm not sure if my partner feels the same. What can I do?
Yeah, there's so many things to learn about relationships, and one of the main lessons to learn about relationship is that they always balance. You know, so often we think, like, you know, one partner's committed and the other partner isn't committed. And the truth is, once you really start talking, you'll discover the level of commitment in both people is actually the same. It will look more in one and less in the other, but it's actually usually the same, because that's the nature of relationships. It's actually the nature of the universe, is to balance, and that's what we do.
You know, if one of us is perhaps pushing to you know, make the relationship work, pushing perhaps for counselling or expressing ourselves or whatever, but any pushing that we're doing in that balancing that Jeff's talking about means that the other partner is going to move further away from it. Like, you know, we're setting up our own resistance in a way, and so it might, as Jeff says, it might look like our partner doesn't want the relationship to work. But if we can turn that around and accept that our partner is somehow reflecting a part of us that we're not aware of, it might be buried. We might swear we're never like that, we're really enthusiastic and all that. But if we can accept the principle that our partner is expressing a part of us, and if we can, you know, explore that, we can have a hope of bringing the relationship back into balance.
My partner has a higher sex drive than me, and I am worried they will look elsewhere. How can I avoid this?
You know, this is one area in relationships that actually quite often couples land up fighting about. You know, there are many areas you can fight about. You know, you can fight about money, you can fight about, you know, all sorts of things. But when you start fighting about sex in a relationship, and you start polarizing, and one partner goes one way, like becomes really needy, wants sex all the time, and the other one just doesn't want any at all, you're out of balance. The relationship is out of balance, and it's really important to learn how to come back into balance, that both partners can have what they want and share love. And that's typically what sex is, hopefully, is you communicating your love for each other.
It's true that when we do get out of balance and we lose that communication, it can be tempting to look elsewhere, because, you know, it's a natural part of our lives, and if it's not being a happy experience in our relationship, then we can be very tempted to think that it might be greener, you know, somewhere else. And so it's a really important part of our lives, of our partnership, to get back to communicating honestly and helping each other to get through whatever the judgments or the blocks are around that particular issue.
Yes, because it probably becomes a bigger and bigger issue if not dealt with.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we're saying. Once you really start polarizing, and one, thinks about sex the whole time, the other one doesn't think about it at all. Now what's happened is you've just polarized, and that's when a relationship is really, doesn't work, and you kind of get entrenched in your views, and yeah, that relationship does start breaking down.
Mm.
And it can be as simple as just being too embarrassed to talk about it, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, it's essential to talk about things. If you want to change anything, you have to be able to talk about it. And it's true, we have a lot of judgments, we have a lot of restrictions around sex and sexuality.
And it can be something that we're very sensitive to talking about. We might feel, that we're underperforming, or there's something wrong with us, or there's so many things. But unless we can speak about it, unless we can share honestly about it, there really isn't a hope of changing it.
Yeah, exactly. I struggle to commit for fear of being hurt. Why can't I let go? Or how many times have I heard this one from myself as well as other people?
Yeah, I know, it's true. If we get hurt in a relationship, we can close down. We do see many people who've made that decision. It's too painful. I always get hurt. It never works out. I'm going to close the door on that on any relationship. In the future, it's definitely something that that people feel a lot.
Yeah, and of course that whole thing, people think love hurts, and so there's this whole belief system around falling in love and it's going to hurt and all that. But that's such a contradiction, because it's not possible for love to hurt. It's just, love is love, and it's kind and it's gentle and it's sharing and all those things. There's no hurt involved in love. If there's hurt there's something else going on. And typically what's going on is people get hurt because you're trying to take something. So if you were never trying to take anything from your partner or anyone else, it would be impossible to be hurt. So all our hurt comes from our past, and in the past when we tried to take things from other people or other situations or things like that. So if you want to get rid of the hurt, you need to go back and do the healing, do the transformation. And then you can have a relationship which is about love, but sooner or later, it's true, some hurt might come up, and then it's about having a different attitude about it rather than running away from it and trying to lock it away. That's the next thing you need to heal. That's the next thing you need to change. And that's the purpose of a relationship. As you come closer and closer in love with each other, anything that's not loved inside you will come to the surface, and that's the reason it comes to the surface, is so that you can change it, not act on it.
So many of our patterns, in fact all our patterns, came from our earlier childhoods. In fact, it might look as if the hurt was in this relationship or the previous relationship and as an adult, but it's always the case that pattern of relationships was more than likely set in our original families. What was going on with our siblings, with our parents, maybe our teachers, maybe school friends or whatever, is much more significant in terms of our ongoing patterns. And so the hurt that we believe is coming from now or previous relationship is more than likely older than that. So it does take courage to look at where we've misunderstood something, where we've seen something happening that we've made a decision about that's still impacting us in the present. And it's not so much a question of letting go of the hurt as understanding it in a new way, perhaps even forgiving someone who was involved in the original incident in a new way that can free us from being so frightened to go ahead and have another relationship.
Yes, indeed. Right, we're going to finish this podcast on a biggie. They've all been quite big, I know, but this one's very big. Are we meant to be with one person forever?
It's always a question.
It's an eternal question. I think in our experience, what we'd say is every relationship is for us to learn something, for us to transform and evolve. So that's true of every relationship. The extent to which you end a relationship in a fight or in great deadness and boredom and stuff like that, all it means is you never learnt the lesson from that relationship, which then means you will repeat that more than likely in the next relationship if you have the courage to have another relationship. And then if you don't deal with it in that one, you'll take it to the next one, and then if you don't work it out in relationships, you'll work it out with your kids. So at some point you need to work it out, learn the lesson somewhere. But that doesn't answer the question, should I be with that person for the rest of my life? And the answer is, in some cases it's true to be together for a long time. In other cases it's true to be in a shorter relationship. And, but maybe Susie can answer that.
Yeah. I guess it's not so much a question of time, it's a question of the quality of the relationship and what's going on in that relationship. It's true that if it's resolved for both parties and people feel peaceful about moving on, then more than likely that lesson has been learnt, and we really have got a good foundation for moving forward into another relationship. More than likely that lesson's been learnt and we really have got a good foundation for moving on into another relationship. We kind of want to be with the same person forever, don't we? We've got that dream in our mind that, I'll find my soulmate and this will be true love and it'll go on forever, it'll never end. And that is what we aspire to. And, for some of us, that is true. Relationships take work, they take effort, they take focus, and they take courage. And so, it's not necessarily the sort of ride off into the sunset happily ever after story that we've been sold. It can be a bumpy ride, and hopefully the relationship gets to be for the reasons of love and mutual support and true partnership, if we take all the bumps along the way.
Yeah, and it's true. It's the thing that's important about a relationship is that it's a growing, evolving thing. Nobody wants to be married to the same person for any period of time. So then you think, oh well, do I go and find a new person, or what do I do? And the answer is your relationship will be a reflection of what you're giving. And as you give to your partner, they will evolve, they'll grow, they'll become different and have new gifts and new qualities. So it's your giving in the relationship that makes it dynamic, that makes it, everything that you want it to be. And that's where it starts. But when you stop giving, then your partner stops growing, and then you're kind of heading in the wrong direction.
In the older days, there was much more social glue keeping us together for the long term. It wasn't such a socially acceptable thing to be a divorcee or divorced man, and there was much more stigma around it. These days that's not true. So like I say, it's about making the relationship for the right reasons, not just because we feel we have to stay together or have a dream that this is going to be perfect one day, but that it really is a pleasure to be with this person and facing life together.
Yep.
Thank you, Sue and Jeff. I think we've only just scraped the tip of the iceberg with this topic, so maybe we'll have to do another podcast, I think, maybe further down the line. But thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you. Cheers.